You can't smell it, obviously, but I have coffee here with me and it smells really good. Someday in the future, can we have like 4D effects where not only do we capture the audio and video of videos, but we capture like smells and stuff? I don't know if that's a good thing. It might be a bad thing. I don't know. Maybe I take that back. Hello, hi, my name's MAAADE. Welcome to MAAADE Music. In the words of Luke Cutforth, I'm trying something a little bit different today. Today, I want to try a new segment where I take songs, albums, music videos, bands, band members, and I analyze them, review them, critique them, psychoanalyze them, however I see fit, and I just rant about it. The song that I want to analyze today is Love It If We Made It by the 1975 off of their album, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. If you don't have this album or never listened to this album, I won't judge you too much, but I don't really know what you're doing because it's a great album and everyone should listen to it. I love this album. It's great. That was the most monotone way I could say it, but it's great. You should buy it, you should get it, you should listen to it, and you should love it. Ha! So to start my analysis, I am going to continue the smart person stereotype and put on my glasses. These are reading glasses. I don't actually need them, but every smart person uses glasses, right? So let me pull out my handy dandy notebook. This is not a notebook, this is a binder, but I just wanted to quote Blue's Clues. Wow, plagiarizing all over today. Also, hello Gerard Way on the cover here. I made this like 4 years ago. Also, that's a side rant I'm not gonna get into, but My Chemical Romance, what are you doing? What is happening? I don't know. All right, so Love It If We Made It. So if you take the music video and the lyrics, they pretty much explain themselves. It just shows you everything that's going wrong. Everything that Matt Healy is trying to say that we're kind of ignoring. The thing that I love about this song though, is the way that the lyrics and the music incorporate themselves together. And I think that really brings a whole new depth to the song that maybe gets overlooked. And just as a disclaimer, I absolutely hate that word. These are just my opinions. This is just the way that I see this song. The beauty of music is that everybody can see things in a different way. If you don't see it this way, that's totally fine. If you have a totally different opinion with the song, that's fine. That's the beauty of music, and that's wonderful. So the musicality of this song is my favorite part, and the way that it really furthers the lyrics and everything. And what I mean by that is the musicality in this song, for the most part, are all very tense, and they go along with the lyrics because the lyrics are not fun to hear. The music video is not fun to see. Like, they're all very, very depressing ideas that they have throughout this song and the things that they show. Like, these are not light topics that they're tackling. The verses, like the first verse especially, like, it really puts you in this mood of just tension within you. Like, it starts with this really muffled ticking sound, almost like a clock in the background. And I don't know if it's a violin or a synth or whatever it is, but it's just the same note, and it just reminds you that it's there, and it's like at first the only sound that's there, and it's just, it doesn't give you like the best feeling in my opinion. And because it's so muffled at the beginning, you can't help but think that it's going to almost explode into something more. And it does! So the lyrics in the first verse give you a glimpse into the society that Matt Healy is trying to set up. Like, the lyrics are very much in your face. It's like the state of society. Everything is just thrown at you. It's very harsh. All of the lyrics don't give you a chance to breathe. If you try to sing these lyrics, you don't have any space to breathe. You barely like have a few breaths that you can catch in there. So everything is just thrown at you. And the thing that I love about the lyrics is that the melody doesn't change. Like, when he's singing it, he barely differs in the melody of the actual words. Everything is almost monotone, not exactly, but it's almost monotone. The music doesn't change. Everything is just the same throughout it. And after a while, you just get this really weird feeling of like, I hope something else comes, because this is just the same thing over and over again. And it just builds this tension within you of like, when is the next thing gonna come? When is it gonna change? When is something going to happen? And that's, oh, the beauty of the song. The thing that I love about the musicality, again, is that once he says the lyrics and we can find out whatever, you can start to hear sirens in the background, which just furthers the tension. Like, nobody wants to hear sirens. Sirens are a bad thing. When you hear sirens, you don't think of anything good. You think of something going wrong. And so like, just the fact that there's sirens in a song, like, that's great. I love that. And then just about the most important line I find in this song is how he says, modernity has failed us. I really like that line because throughout history, I think people have naturally thought like, maybe things are bad right now, but as the future comes, it'll get better. However, I think this line of thinking is not correct. I think it goes both ways. Like, obviously you look back on the past and things were worse than it is now, but there are a lot of problems that maybe you couldn't have imagined in the past that we face now. An example of what I mean by that is in the past we didn't have all the technology that we do now. Like, we have absurd amounts of technology. We can do basically anything that we can imagine. Then at the same time, you look at education and it doesn't provide for you as much as it did like decades ago. If you look back, like, people can't pay for college the same way that they did. They can't get by on minimum wage jobs and support a family. Like people aren't able to put themselves through school and to get a degree, and a degree doesn't even guarantee you a career. Maybe that's the point he's trying to get across here, is that yeah, we've advanced in some ways, but in a lot of ways modernity has failed us. Like, it hasn't improved all the problems that we thought maybe would be resolved by now. And I think that's really important. I like that line a lot. And gosh dang it, I will say this throughout this whole video, but I love this song. Following that very important line, he then says, and I'd love it if we made it. But the important thing, I will get to that line later on, but the important thing right now is that when he says it the first time, nothing in the music changes. Everything is the same. The ticking sound in the background doesn't let up. It's still tense. The only difference is this twinkly, dreamy noise, like this electronic, almost like a siren-ish. It keeps going back and forth with its melody. And I think that's super cool because it keeps shifting. It keeps changing, but it's not going anywhere. It's not moving. It's not like moving up or down in a large way. It's just going back and forth within its little space. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this, but I think that's really cool how like it is shifting, but it's not long-term changing. You know, I love analyzing. Okay, well, that's boiling. Ow. Getting into verse 2. The same as verse 1. It's very tense. The melody that he sings really doesn't change. He doesn't have a lot of room to breathe. It's all thrown at you again like the first verse is. Now here comes the most important part of the song. I've said that like twice already, but this one for sure is the most important part of the song, and I will tell you why. This time, when he gives you all of the problems in society and everything, he starts with the line, "Love it if we made it," and it again, like the first verse, is very tense. It has that twinkly back and forth noise, like you think it's just gonna be all the same like it was before, but then it changes. We finally get a different part of the song, a different music. It's not that same tense ticking noise. It finally changes and it explodes into this beautiful, beautiful chorus. And all of a sudden, all of the instruments no longer clash. They all come together. The instruments make sense together. They work well together. It actually sounds like a song, not just noise, not just music. It actually sounds like a song. The voices in the background singing like, it's like, ooh, like everything just makes sense. You could dance to this part of the song. Like, it's beautiful. It finally goes somewhere. And that's, it's so cool. It's like a party or a celebration of what things could be like. And what I mean by that is Matt Healy lists all of these problems with the world and everything going wrong, but this part of the song is almost like all of the music coming together. That's him imagining it going right and everything being resolved and what the future could hold if we just did it correctly. And like, that's freaking beautiful. Next page. The end of that chorus and into verse 3, it's basically separated by this line, "Tell me something I didn't know." I feel like that line is like his cutoff from him dreaming about this utopia and everything. It's him thinking about, again, all of the problems going on and like hearing another problem and just being like, tell me something I didn't know. Tell me something that isn't bad. Tell me something that I didn't expect would happen. Do you know what I mean? So to start off verse 3, or technically the bridge, whichever you would like to consider it, he again is talking about problems within the society, but instead of just talking about them, he's literally just listing them off. He begins like super quiet. It's almost like a whisper, as if everything is at the back of his mind. Like he has this utopia, like daydream and everything, but then everything comes crashing down because he's thinking again about all of these problems. And it's like it's at the back of his mind just whispering like all these things. Like you can't think about the utopia yet because you have all of these issues still going on. And here, when he's like almost whispering all of these things, we have like the harshest violin sound going off. It's just the violin. I think it's a violin. Don't know for sure. It sounds like a violin to me. It's just like the violin string, just like the note getting like higher and higher and higher and more tense. It's purposely not a pleasant sound because it's just building up and it doesn't let up until he shouts, "I moved on," or like fill in the blank. And then we get to the part where he's still listing things off, but he's just screaming it instead of whispering it because he's finally like had enough. He's just fed up with all of these things. Like it's no longer like a whisper in the back of his mind. Now it's at the forefront and he's just like getting angrier and angrier and more fed up with like the more he has to think about all of these things. And on top of the lyrics and everything, like all of the things that he's listing off, the thing that I love about this verse or bridge, whatever you want to call it, is that everything is built upon rhymes or alliteration. Like everything sounds alike, everything sounds similarly, and I think he did this to make everything feel like you've already heard it before. It sounds really familiar. It feels repeated. It feels like you have such a strong sense of repetition because you feel like you've heard it before. Like all of these words sound similar. And I think that's really beautiful. I don't know exactly how to explain that, but if you listen to that part, like he's talking about very different issues, but they all sound the same because they all end the same or the words are alike, and that's just absolutely beautiful to me. So here we have the last chorus, and again he has this dream of his utopia, like everything makes sense musically again. However, there's no middle daydream, and what I mean by that is that in the first verse, that to me is the middle daydream, that twinkling sound that goes back and forth when he's saying "love it if we made it" over and over again. It has that in the second verse as well before he goes on into this utopia daydream and everything makes sense again. Instead of having that middle daydream where he keeps saying "love it if we made it" and it like builds up into that utopia, it just goes straight into the utopia. Does that make sense? And what I love about this is that it shows the dichotomy between the state that you just came from, the bridge or verse 3, whatever, that really intense state of him yelling and just listing off things, to this really beautiful, groovy, dance-induced utopia that he's dreaming about. Also, a thing I love about this chorus, when he says, "and I love it if we made it," you can hear the stress in his voice, and he stresses certain parts of it. Like it's not a smooth "and I'd love it if we made it." He sings it, "and I'd love it if we made it," and it like just adds to the song how much he wants this utopia, how much he wants this daydream that he thinks about. Nothing about this song, except for his vision, his daydream, is pleasant. Like everything in this song is so tense and it just builds upon itself. And even he can't even say "and I'd love it if we made it" in a smooth line. Like it's all broken up because it's not real to him. He dreams of it, but it's not there. It's not real. I don't know, just the fact that he breaks up the sentence and it's just, it's beautiful. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this, but I don't care. I just see everything in the song and it's just, okay. Now we get to the ending of the song, which, if you hadn't already guessed, I love the ending because it's brilliant. The thing that I love about this is that the song ends with the same ticking noise as the beginning, but instead of it being like really muffled and quiet and in the background, the ticking noise, if you notice, is really sharp. It's really clear. It's no longer quiet. Like everything is just to the forefront. Like he can't almost not think about these things. He can't not think about the ticking. Like the ticking is so sharp that you have to listen to it. Like now this noise is even more immediate and desperate. Like it's more in your face than it was before. Before it was just like a reminder that it was there, and now it's like in your face and like, hello, I'm here, what are you gonna do with me type thing. And it's almost like Matt Healy is trying to get the same thing across with the issues that he's talking about. Like you can't ignore it anymore. It's not just a muffled sound, like it's clear, it's sharp in front of you. And after everything that he talked about in this song, like you can't easily forget that and let that go. This is at least what I take from the song and the music video, is that they're just trying to bring awareness to everything going on and just having a conversation about it. We don't actively make these issues happen because we can make them happen, but we continue to let them happen because we let them happen. Does that make sense? Like maybe it's not something that we actively further or actively cause, but it's something that we continue to let happen because we're not doing anything to stop them. And I think that's kind of the point of the song. Like these things are happening not because we make them happen, but because we let them happen. Does that make sense? I don't know, but there you go. That was my analysis of Love It If We Made It by the 1975. That's all I have for you today. Stay lovely, you little online relationships. I don't know what that means, but that's what I got. Bye-bye.